Eyes on Longmont, offering a diversity of topics about our community that will inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy this edition of Eyes on Longmont.
Bill Pruett and Trent Brent, the Blue Mountain Vineyard.
I'm finding a place, I should say. I was working as a corporate officer for a food company in Denver, Colorado, and traveled quite a bit. I had 14 factories, an international group I was taking care of. And my wife promised that I could have my farm because I grew up on a farm, and it's a dairy farm, and then my grandfather's farm in South Dakota. So I was on the way to CSU with my son, and by gosh, I saw this acreage for sale, and it said lake frontage with water rights. And it was just nothing but a bare field, and the lake goes back to 1892. It's an old water source. So I was very lucky. We started planting grapes, and here we are. I had the grapes in before even the house was completed. The whole area was nothing but barren field. We put all the trees, all the buildings in. And I get asked a lot, how the heck did you get into making wine? I've been making wine about 54 years, I guess now. And actually kind of started out funny. I was coming back from Vietnam. I was with the 3rd Marines at that time. I was a Navy corpsman. And by gosh, I lived in Wisconsin at the time, and I came back and spent 2 weeks, my first 2 weeks coming home. Then I went on to Sandpoint Naval Air Station, which is in Seattle, Washington, and it was right up against the University of Washington. First day there, I came in the evening, real laid back. It was like a MASH unit, everybody's medical. And I threw my sea bag on a cot, signed in, and I went across the street to a bar. A lot of young girls there. And I walked in, and by gosh, I was the only one with short hair, of course. And it was that period, 1969. And I walked up to the bar, and I said, "Bartender, give me a beer." Great big guy. He looked down at me, and he says, "Young man, I need to see your ID." And I pulled out my ID, and it was military. And he looked at it, and he says, "You better get the hell out of here." And I said, "Oh, you don't like military?" He says, "No, you're not 21 yet." So I'd been shot down twice and hit the chest with a rocket, but I couldn't have a damn beer. But in Wisconsin, if you had a full set of teeth, you could have a beer. So I wasn't used to that. So we started making wine. And there's blackberries all over in Washington, especially in the Seattle area. So that's when I started making wine. And when I got out of the military, I was lucky to use the GI Bill, and I got my degree in microbiology and heavy biochemistry at the University of Wisconsin. And so here I am today. By gosh, we've got 35 acres. We own part of the lake, and we have water rights. I have a little over 5 acres of grapes. And my good friend Trent's been helping me out these last several years. And we go through harvest. There's good and there's bad days, and it's part of farming. We're real fortunate. We're lucky to get the hybrid varietals to grow real well here, and it's a good learning experience. And the people here have been wonderful. So like this morning we were going to pick, and it's so darn miserable out and wet. We're lucky to get the water, but the folks all showed up and had our burritos, and they're just wonderful, wonderful folks. So things I don't do the same as the Western Slope. I don't say they're wrong. It's just for me, it doesn't quite work that way. I follow more of a California grape growing process, you might say. I prune differently than maybe they do in the Western Slope. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't follow some of the protocol you'll see in the literature. Last year where we had the early rains, we had a really nice crop. We were pretty close to one varietal. We got real close to 4 ton per acre. And the other varietals closer, they don't yield as well, maybe closer to 2 ton per acre. But last year we got just a tiny bit less than 1,000 gallons of wine, which is quite a few grapes if you go backwards on it, and that makes right around 5,000 bottles. So that was pretty nice. That was a nice year.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning, Gary.
Yeah, I'm Carrie. I am the winery manager here, which means I do a little bit of everything. I do the books, I plan the events, I do the tasting room, I help make wine. Taste wine is that's my favorite part.
Wow.
So I have my hands in a lot of things.
So how did you end up out here?
Yeah,
What's your
so
story?
my story, it's a little bit crazy. My grade school friend used to work with Christy, the owner's wife, at the tree farm long ago. And so she had mentioned that Bill had started a winery and he might need some help. So she asked me to come out and pour just for a summer festival. And that turned into 11 years.
I'm quite content being a gardener. In this field, they call it a viticulturist, but it's gardening, it's farming. And they call it farming because the word gambling was already taken. And you never know what you're going to get with rain or hail or anything like that. So how I got into this, I guess genetics, maybe. My grandfather loved growing grapevines. He loved making jam, and he had a hard time showing affection to anyone, but he could give gifts, and that was a gift that he would give. Was stuff that he made from his little vineyard that he had. And I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. And about 10 years ago, I just started growing vines in my own yard and became obsessed with it. And I work at a little wildlife rehab place close by here, and drove by this place for a long time, didn't know it was here. And kind of got a little idea in my head that I should maybe stop working where I was working and find a winery. And so I was going to go to all of them and see which one I liked the best. And I came here and never even bothered going to the other ones. So met my friend Bill here and went out and pruned with him. And yeah, it was a good timing. So.
Hi, my name is Laura Billington. I'm the production manager here at Blue Mountain Vineyards. I actually got a job out here back in college. I was looking for a part-time job and saw that they needed some help, so I came out several years ago, started my career in the winemaking world and absolutely loved it. I went into the corporate world for a couple of years just to kind of look at what my college degree could do for me, and I just kept finding myself wanting to come back here and pursue my passion in wine. So Bill and Christy, the owners, are incredible, and the operation they run is great. Production manager here at Blue Mountain Vineyards means I really have a little bit of hand in everything. So I've been helping helping with the winemaking process, the fermentation, blending, bottling. I also handle all of our sales to liquor stores. I dip a little bit into the tasting room as well, and I make sure that the quality of our product is as good as it can possibly be. Yeah, the wines, I'm biased. I think all of the wines are incredible, and to be truthful, it's hard for me to find a wine outside of our vineyard that I think tastes as great as our wine does, and that's my honest opinion. The staff is incredible. It's a small team that we have here, but everyone is ready to help at a moment's notice and super friendly, and we all just respect Bill and Christy so much, so we do all we can to help them out and keep the good operation going. Once I got the part-time position out here, I found that that was truly my passion, and I think it's true when they say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I look around every day, and I've even told Bill I feel so fortunate that this is what I get to do to make a living for myself. So it was a windy road to get here, but I'm very thankful for it.
So welcome to Blue Mountain Vineyards. It's so wonderful to see you. I'm blessed. Thank you. I'm going to show you about the grapes. Some of you have been through this before, and I'm going to try to show you what happens. You're going to see this late in the year, you're going to see there's partial grapes. For the most part, you can see these are raisined, and you're going to see these have some plump. You pick them, don't worry about it. Go ahead and put them in there. This gives an incredible flavor when they're not as dry as the buckshot ones. How these pickers work. This is real simple. Just grab the clump, and you'll see here's the picker. It's got actually a set of cutters right in the middle of it, shielded on both sides, shielded up front. But you grab the clump, and you just go like this. It really works nice. But that's all there is to it. Max, I just love having you here. You don't know how gratifying this is to see all the faces, except for Trent's. So it's really nice. And we're going to start out over here. Almost all the grapes we're going to pick are over here. We have a couple rows over there.
And as soon as you get a bucket full, just start filling up one of these blue bins with the white lid. And as soon as it gets 3/4 full or so, Bill will bring it in and we'll start processing it. So when you come in for some food and a glass of wine, when you're done, you can pop your head back there and see the process.
Stephen, okay, so we have Stephen picking grapes here today.
So have you two ever done this before?
No, this is our first time.
Isn't that great?
It's super cool.
Too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you couldn't miss it.
I get you to hold that up. Sorry, we're making you do all the things.
No, it's great.
Well, tell us how you're feeling now on your first grape pick. Is it kind of fun, or
This is amazing. I mean, it's like, I think it's just such a fun thing to do, like on a beautiful, almost fall morning, and yeah, it feels great out here. The air is so clear today.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of wild. I feel like it's a little taste of like Napa Valley or something in the middle of Colorado.
Yeah.
One, like Bill's over there just like hosting everybody at his house.
Yeah.
Living his best
And then he
life.
goes out and works.
Yeah.
He's right over there.
And I think it's so fun, like, to enjoy the end product, knowing that you were part of it. I think it just makes it feel like family. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a
Certainly
fun
does.
way to drink wine, I think. Yeah, we live close by, and so we've come to this winery for a bit, like discovered it, and we're like, this is so beautiful, like right kind of like at our back door. And so getting to know, Bill and Elizabeth and Christy, it's been fun to kind of like give back or feel like you're part of it, you
Yeah,
know? So our kids are away this morning with grandparents, and we're like, perfect date morning. Let's go get our hands dirty together and, you know.
Trent. Oh my God. Trent, he does a hell of a job. He got up, been working them since a little after 6 o'clock. There's a special method to thaw them out and warm them up.
Oh, there is.
Yes.
Fill up your bucket yet, Steve?
Went on the internet.
Yeah, that's amazing. Getting them all, Steve?
Yep. Making it happen.
Oh, look at that. And with your picker, just kind of hold it out, because I think that's kind of cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like I'm reading some Scrabbles for you, but it's kind of like but I want to see them all.
Beautiful morning. Oh my gosh. Couldn't ask for a prettier morning. I think we should put a grape plant.
You know, there's no super science to it. As far as, you know, you cut it off and you throw it in the bucket.
Have you done this before out here, or is this the first time you picked?
We're originally from California.
Are you?
I do a lot of winemaking. I also work as a wine broker.
Nice. Do what I love.
So we picked grapes in Temecula and around that area before.
Ramona.
Alex and Liz. And this been your first time picking Alex?
First time here, yes.
Wow.
We've been to the vineyard before just to enjoy the surroundings. 15 minutes from where we live, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah, you come out here and you're in a different world.
Absolutely. And today, couldn't have a better day.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So
I didn't think about it, so that's great.
Yeah, like that's perfect size right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. All right, ready? Thank you.
Ready for processing this morning, right?
Before, or is this
Yeah.
the first time?
This is our second time here, but we actually used to own a vineyard in Reno, Nevada, where we came from.
Really?
So
Wow.
when we moved here, we were kind of missing it. When we came and found out that they were looking for volunteers, we were like, yes, please.
That's awesome.
So, because it's fun, but we don't have to be the day-to-day people, you know, watching it.
Kind of like grandkids, you can take them back.
Right. You can enjoy it, but you aren't responsible.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we come here because it's, you know, it's fun. They're obviously super approachable. Yeah, we looked at wines, and it's fairly close, and you know, it's beautiful spread, you know, and it's pretty out here. So it's us out of the city a little bit and in the country. So we definitely enjoy coming here, and appreciate the fact that he lets everybody participate, you know, that wants to. And it's a fairly common thing. And when you have a vineyard like this, it's harvest time, you call all your friends. And this happens at almost every vineyard. So
I just don't want to.
Okay, we're ready.
Are you ready? All right, this is my first.
Let me do it like this.
Okay, my first bucket full.
Oh, that's great.
Here it goes.
Wow. Yeah, good.
Look at those in there. Very rewarding. It's like self-gratification, like mowing the lawn when it's done. It looks so good. So the same thing. Off to bucket 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Here we go. Drop some leaves in there. Let's not get those in. There we go. Beautiful.
Oh, we're about 2 miles away, just down the hill. But we don't grow grapes. But my wife likes Blue Mountain Vineyard wine. She enjoys that.
Those getting really good at it.
And we can find it in all the liquor stores these days, so he's doing well.
Oh yeah, that part is fantastic.
there. Nice job.
Thank you.
So we get about a quarter or so more juice if we pre-stomp them before we put them in the bladder press, and it's fun, and it's a good leg workout. Yeah. And everybody thinks of I Love Lucy.
Yes, it's very therapeutic.
You'll get a better view here in a minute.
Now, what do you question there, Trent? What grape? Oh, yeah.
Frontenac.
Frontenac. Yes. What do we have? What's the white?
There's Reliance there, La Crosse there, La Crescent there. This is the last little remnant of the whites, and we thought we'd put those in there for a little bit of a peppercorn flavor, a little bit more spice, I think. I think it'll make for a really fine addition to the pork. We got our other barrels right behind you, our bins, and it's great. We'll have to stomp after these.
So did you blend those in with your pork?
We will. We're trying it. We're trying.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Bill Pruett, and my wife Christy and I own Blue Mountain Vineyards. I've been making wine just about 55 years now. I'm a microbiologist and a biochemist. Right now, I'm just a farmer, and I love it. We started Blue Mountain Vineyards. We're starting our 16th year now. We started out with just the winery, and then we built on the tasting room here, and we just love making wine. It's a lot of fun. We have 3 acres of gardens behind us. We own part of our lake that we're built on here, and we get our water from there for irrigation of the grapes. We have about 5 acres of grapes. We have at least 7 varietals right now we're working with. We're trying to focus in on the best varietals. There's no literature out there that will tell us the best varietal for this area. So it's been, I planted the grapes before we had our house built. So I've got 24 years of experience on the vineyard. And we're closing in on some varietals we think that will do great here. And they take down to 45 below zero. So they're real tough. They are hybrids. Hybrids are very tough to make wine out of. One of our hybrids that we use, it's Frontenac. There's some folks that do a very nice job on Frontenac making a table wine. It's usually a little bit sweet. What I did, I happened onto some literature about a little after I started the winery, and it talked about making a port-style wine out of Frontenac, and that's what I did. This is Christy's blend, so I named it after my wife. We bring it up to 20% alcohol, so we fortify it, and then we leave it in an oak barrel for 6 years minimum. So it's a real nice little wine. This is a dandy. So this one here is one of the ones we use for our grapes out here. Sometimes we'll send out to a distillery and get our own brandy spirits made there from our grapes, and we use that for fortification. So even the alcohol brandy, the brandy fortification, can come from our grapes also. So this is Christy's blend. This one is the dandy. Here is the next one, now Sangiovese. This one here is a very old grape. It's they feel possibly it's one of the noble wines, was possibly at the Last Supper. This is great also with spicy foods. So in other words, Mexican foods, Italian foods, it's gonna go real well with it. And Sangiovese is really neat. If you take a little Sangiovese and some dark chocolate and you taste that and you chew the dark chocolate up and you chase it down with a Sangiovese, don't swallow it, chase it down with a wine so you swallow them together, you'll swear you're having a cherry jubilee. It'll take you right back to Christmas. When I was a kid growing up, that's about the only chocolate we had in the house at Christmas was chocolate-covered cherries. So all of these here I bring in the fruit from Napa, Sonoma, Russian River, and Lodi, California for these Vitis vinifera. I can't raise Vitis vinifera grapes here. It's just won't go. I tried. I planted 8 acres when I first started. The first year I was here 24 years ago, and I had to dig out over 800 plants and start all over again. So the Vitis vinifera just can't make it on this side of the mountains. This is Marley's, and this has a little bit of our port in it, and it has also most of our grapes from our vineyard, and we named it after our dog Marley, and he was a real sweetheart, a big cross between a Pyrenees and a Golden. This is Marley's blend. It's a dandy too. It's a fun one. Some of our grapes will have a Marquette blush, and that's made from our Marquette grapes out here. That has a beautiful black cherry flavor. And that's a particular one where I press it for a whole clump, and it's got so much color in it, just with a whole clump press, that you get a beautiful, just a beautiful light red, I'd have to say, almost a, I don't know if that's an auburn color, but it's real pretty. It's interesting about hybrids, they give up their color real easy. And that's, of course, that's what your doctor wants you to have, is that nice color tannin. So I'd listen to your doctor, I really would, you know, with that tannin thing. So we're fortunate that we can press these hybrids and get a lot of tannin color out of them. And that's one of the things about these particular grapes, that you're always welcome to come up and talk to me if you're out here tasting. And we have a patio out front, you can sit and look at the grapes. And most of the time we do have a bunch of eagles that just sit in our tree back there and they watch the pond, and then we have an osprey that fishes there, and of course the blue herons always. And this week we had a swan visit us on its way to the Arctic. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of pretty out here. Of course, we'll always have the darn turkeys. They'll come in about harvest time and eat all the grapes. And you have the deer come by usually in the evening too. So it's kind of neat. We have a big horned owl that eats a lot of the rabbits, I should say, each morning. So kind of that whole plethora of things. We have a Merlot, and it's really fun when you go to the market. Sometimes you'll get folks that are just learning about wine, and they'll come up and ask for the Merlot, and I know what they mean right away. So this is a nice full-bodied red. So if you're going to have, this would be one that I would have with a beef stroganoff. It's going to give you a nice kind of a base, almost a burgundy type feel on it. It'll be a real nice red with meats, definitely. All the reds are always good with meats, but that's a really good one with like a beef stroganoff, a deeper meat. Also wild game. This Cabernet Sauvignon, this one here is excellent. If somebody said bring a red wine to a dinner, really, really beautiful little wine, nice fruit on it, nice spice, but it's soft enough that it's not going to push the lighter drinkers, red wine drinkers, and it's also going to satisfy the heavy tannin drinkers. So it's, excuse me, that's a real nice little red. The Zinfandel, excuse me, this fruit comes from Lodi, California. This Zinfandel is just spicy. This is my favorite right now. This is a little dandy. You pour this in a glass, it's got nice spice, nice fruit on it, and this one is going to hold its flavor for a while in your mouth. So I love this one right now. I'm going to go down to the Pinot Noir. The Pinot Noir that we have is really a nice little spicy Pinot Noir. A lot of character to this. So what is character? It's just plain good flavor. It's nice fruit on it. So this is a real nice little Pinot Noir. I'll jump back to the whites. We've got a Riesling here. And this Riesling, I would say this is a real nice, pleasant summer drink. It's got about 2.5% residual sugar left in it that hasn't been fermented. And it's just a real nice little drink for like if you have salads or if you're having fish. And it's really nice when it gets warm out here. People love it. It'll come out and we'll actually cool these more than 54 degrees, which is a standard kind of for most wines. We'll actually put these in the refrigerator, take them down into probably the high 30 range for temperature. It makes it a real nice little drink in the summer. The Pinot Grigio, there's about 1.5 to 3/4% residual sugar left in this. So it's a little bit drier white. And it's got a nice fruit profile in it with that little bit of sugar seems to kick out the fruit profile a little nicer, but yet it's not sweet. So the Pinot Grigio will step in there and it'll give you the, I'd have to say a little bit pear flavor and an apple. So this is a real nice little wine too. And once again, it's not as sweet as the Riesling. And then a Chardonnay. This Chardonnay, I do a secondary fermentation on it, it's called. It's when you take a malolactic bacteria and you add it to the wine after you've finished with a yeast fermentation. With some of the cultures today, you used to have to add them in the vat. Now you can put those cultures right in your barrel, which is nice. And this malolactic acid is real closely related, if not the same bacteria group as leuconostics. And what that means is they use leuconostics to make Philadelphia cream cheese. So it gives you that buttery flavor. Well, on Chardonnays, you'll get maybe a little bit of that, of mine, you get a little bit of buttery flavor, but you also get those side flavors that are produced by the leuconostic group. So I do a second fermentation with a malolactic, and this one will be real pretty. It's a nice dry wine, it's off French oak. It'll work just great again with fish and salads. And so if you're looking for it definitely will have the oak on it. So if you're looking for a nice full-bodied Chardonnay to sit down and drink, this would be a good one. We have another one that's called Pink Chardonnay. And I made that by accident. It's serendipity. I don't claim to be a Fleming, like the penicillin group, but it was an accident. Not paying attention. I don't know if I had a long night or something. And I was going through with our Christy's blend to top off Christy Blend's barrels. And the Chardonnay happened to be on the same rack as the Christy's blend. And the numbers were too close together and I goofed up. And I topped off the Chardonnay with Christy's blend. And oh God. Well, it worked out beautiful. So now we make a pink Chardonnay, and we actually add the Christy's blend to it on purpose. People loved it. We've got a newer one out, and it definitely has the taste of Christy's in there. It'll give you almost a little bit of a cognac finish, And that one's really going real well, and we enjoy that one much. We have a Gewürztraminer too, and of course the real code name for that one I got from Parker Carlson Vineyards. And I don't think Parker is around anymore, but he's such a splendid individual. I went out to visit him years ago, and he says the right name for it is Girls Are Meaner, and that was Parker. He's a hell of a great guy, good man. So our Gewürztraminer, we're sold out right now. It's our best seller, and people love it. And it is the perfect wine to go with turkey. So I think that's about it. Our maximum number of people, we really don't try to go too big because it's just not us, but we max out at about 68 people. And also we're for weddings. We do weddings in the back, and we can do weddings inside the winery also, but 68 people is where we keep it at. And we have the tasting room here. We're open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We do special events during the week if folks want, and we'll rent out the facility, and we'll have personalized tastings also. So, and then usually I bore people pretty good with some stories. We usually lock the doors so nobody can get out while I tell the stories. So it's just, and thank you for asking that, but we usually have a pretty good time.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you can bring your own food, so people bring a meal and just a nice family time. That's something that's really enjoyable here. A few years ago at the early lockdown, I was out in the field. It's like, what is different? There was no laughter. And it's like, usually when I'm out there, it's like even if I'm out there, I still hear laughter and everybody having a good time up here with their friends and family. So it's got a good ambience for sure.
And this summer we've been trying to, about every other week, been trying to have music out here. And it's usually, I'm kind of old-fashioned, sorry, it's not hip-hop, and usually it's more like maybe a single guitarist, a trio or something, so.
And it goes on and on, watching the river run, further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening and learning and learning, run river run.
What can I get for you?
Can I try a little tiny bit of the Sangiovese?
Yes.
Enjoy a glass of wine.
I like the Marleys. Sangiovese is good.
Sangiovese here, and it's a dry red. Reminds me, I guess, a bit of Chianti. But it tastes berries and has just a wonderful soft finish. Good with cheese, good with Italian food. Salud. It's wonderful. Exactly what Barb said. It's smooth. It's full body, but it doesn't leave an aftertaste. It goes down nice, and especially which we had a chocolate cake with Guinness mixed in with a cream cheese frosting. So I'm sorry I don't have a picture to show you, but it was all wonderful. It's gone.
Well, I had a flight of 4 things to sample from, and I must say my favorite was the Pinot Grigio. And the reason is it was just so interesting. I would just, every time I took a sip of it, it was like a different flavor, it seemed like. And my husband doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to buy a bottle of the Pinot Grigio.
I drank the Zinfandel and enjoyed it. It's a nice, easy wine to drink, has medium tannins, and I think it'd go well with barbecue.
Yeah. Jane likes the Chardonnay. I like the Sauvignon Blanc.
It's very nice. I also tasted the dessert wine, the port, and that one was really sweet, very, very full body, very good. It's fantastic. Yes, sir. They're very, very delicious.
I'm Christy Pruett. I'm Bill's wife, and I would say my title out here is Chief Gardener. I worked out at the tree farm on Highway 52 for 27 years, so I learned a lot about plants out there when you work with them every day. So I would always bring home, while I was working there, people would move to Colorado and they would not water things enough. They came from parts of the country where you planted them and you watered them in a week or two or whatever. And so they were always dying. Probably at least 50 of the trees out here were considered, quote, dead, but just needed to be watered. And then of course I brought back shrubs and perennials as well. I have about 3 acres, counting the lawns, of perennials and shrubs and tree gardens, which I really enjoy working in. And even a few things are starting to come up already, which is always fun. So I'm looking forward to that. But I really enjoy taking our guests around and showing them the gardens if they have any interest in plants. And it's always nice. It gives us a nice backdrop for people that want to have special events here, such as small weddings, anniversary parties, or the like. Well, working at the tree farm, we had a landscape designer that was a friend of mine as well. So he did some of the basic design work for a few of the gardens that are right around our house. And so that gave me a start to expand from there. And so looking at that and kind of having an idea of what I liked in gardens, we were able to design gardens out here, and as Bill was putting them in, I'd tell him, no, I want the shape to be this, I don't want straight lines. I'm going to use this area as a shade area with evergreens and that kind of thing, and don't plant any evergreens right here because I need the sun in this garden. So that's kind of how it started. And then when we'd come across cheap things, we'd figure out where we could put them in. If we didn't have a place, we'd make a new garden. So we have a lot of evergreen shrub, flowering shrub, tree paths, and walking areas that are not flowers but are other kinds of plant materials. But we have a very large population of rabbits out here. So when you go through my perennial gardens, particularly around the house where I have smaller perennials, you will see they're all caged. You'd think I don't know what you'd think I was running out there, because there's little wire metal cages around everything. Don't worry if you're planting gardens. Plant what you want, I mean within reason. Don't plant orchids outside. But I have some gorgeous hibiscus that do really well outside. Just, take everything, if something doesn't work, don't worry about it. Try something else. or you decide, oh, I thought that was going to look really good right there, and it doesn't, dig it up, move it somewhere else. I'd say it's just an everyday walk through it, see what needs to be done. Don't try to do it every day, but say, okay, next week I've got to remember to do this, this, and this. And just enjoy it. I take my glass of wine and wander around and leave them out there because I've got to set it down to do something, and then I forget them.
Ladybugs are very bitter, and since I drank the wine, I want it to be good. So no ladybugs.
This is called The Damn Thing's Dying on the Vine, or he also wears these funny shoes.
So flip flops, even though it's cold. And, yeah. Well,
questions at all? Grab one of us that look like we know something, and we'd be happy to help.
So you'll be talking to each other.
And don't worry, if you see somebody walking around with a whip, it's for me. It's not for you.
If you see a ladybug, rescue the ladybug.
It's a little girl we found along the road. I just love having you here. You don't know how gratifying this is to see all the faces, except for Trent's.